So let's build a tray model and some objects to use as material samples for some materials development in V-Ray for 3ds Max 2023. So I'm here in Max 2023. I'm going to go, to my unit setup and make sure that for me I'm on inches, and I'm going to think a tolerance of perhaps 1/8 of an inch is enough. So this inches signifies that if I type in a number without signifying feet or inches, it will be interpreted as inches. If I clicked on feet, it would be interpreted as feet. And at the scale that I'm working at, which is physical material size samples, I'm going to set it to inches. I'm going to maximize my top view, and I'm going to make a box. Let's zero out that box's coordinates with the box selected at the base of the screen, right-clicking on the up and down arrows for the X, Y, Z. Let's call this material tray, and let's make it, 18 inches by 18 inches by 2 inches. Let's add and edit poly modifier, select faces, the top face. Let's inset by 1/2 an inch. So I just typed in 0.5, not 0.5 inches, and because I had set my default units to inches, it was interpreted as 0.5 inches, and let's extrude down -1.5 inches. So that's going to be a tray. It's going to enclose my samples, and I'm making that because in certain professions that use small material samples, it's common to bind them together in a frame or a tray to show, to kind of describe a palette of materials. So I'm emulating that in 3D. I'm going to make, let's say, a regular box of size 4 inches by 4 inches by 2 inches, and let's call that box sample. And then I'm going to make a extended primitives, a chamfer box of 4 by 4 by 2 with a fillet of, say, 0.125 and 5 segments. And the idea here is we want to throw in a variety of shapes so that when we're testing materials, we get a sense of how they perform. So let's throw in a sphere. Let's throw in a cylinder. In fact, make a tall cylinder that I'll turn on its side. I will turn on my my angle snap toggle, so I can easily snap that to 90 degrees. And in my side view, let's take this sphere, maybe make it a little smaller. Take these two boxes, raise them up, take this cylinder. I'm going to increase the number of sides. I don't really need to be terribly economical here because there's not going to be much else in this scene. And then let's make in the top view, under extended primitives, a chamfered cylinder. We'll provide some rounded edges. Let's make the height 1.75 and the fillet 0.125, and let's increase the number of sides to 36, and the fillet segments, which are these segments here in the fillet itself, let's make those reasonably large. I'm going to throw a few other objects in here and just make sure they're arranged the way I want them to be so that they're reasonably shaped. Let's make, I guess we can make a cone. My objects seem to be getting smaller or larger as I go down, so let's just remedy that make this a little bit more contained. And maybe we'll make these 5 by 5. There we go, something like that. And then let's throw in, for giggles, maybe a torus, which we might not come across much in our work. And from our extended, maybe a capsule. Now, I've got a lot of rounded geometry. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to add an L extension. And I'm going to rotate that. First of all, let's change those settings and rotate it down. And I'm rotating these, and I'm going to place them so that they are sitting on my box to create that sensation that they are physical objects. That's important to this project. When we render this, we want it to be believably be, let's say, 0.5. I'm going to copy and paste the value for the Z that all of these objects should have, and that will help me locate them precisely. I'm going to take this torus and give it a greater number of sides as well. Maybe 32. There we go. So at the end of this exercise, I have a box of virtual samples that I'll be able to apply materials to and render and get a sense for how a certain material recipe performs on several geometries. So prior to adding it to a specific piece of my scene, I get to get an idea of how it looks and performs on different shapes. So that's making a material samples box with some shapes for V-Ray material recipes we'll be making in the following videos.